What's up, Blue Jay Gang? It's Coach Reva with a message of the day. We are going to train our brain for success because most people, especially in the summer, they sign up for these programs, they get started, everything seems to be working for them, and then dun 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 they eventually fall back into their old habits, and they have to repeat this cycle of searching for the new solution, or trying to start a new regimen, new equipment that literally keeps them on a hamster wheel. And then every new year that comes is their year, right? To set the new goals, the new resolutions, and eventually research shows that they fall off within 6 weeks. So, how do we change this, right? What I found is that most personal trainers, nutritionists, they don't understand the psychology of transformation. And your brain and body will not even challenge the regimens that they put you through, right, as a result of their training. But it is crucial that you are linking with somebody who understands this phenomenon, because eventually, after all of the quick fixes, the diets, the supplements, even the surgery, guys, you are going to come to a point where you're going to want to find out, why does this keeps recurring in your life? And you're going to want to reach out to somebody who can offer a lifetime solution. And going about change in this perspective, this is going to require you to create a deeper relationship with yourself and actually explore who you have been being and how it is maybe out of alignment with who you are becoming. This is the only way, in my experience, to obtain sustainable change. Now, I'm not saying that change is easy. I want you to understand change is difficult. It's so difficult that in science, and I want to explain to you three different challenges that will come up for you scientifically, physiologically, as you make these changes and ultimately become a new person. You're going to get to a place where you self sabotage. And it's not because you don't have the willpower, you need some accountability, right? You need some support. It's not because of that. It's because your brain simply just wants to protect itself and stay safe. Your brain loves ease and flow, and it loves being in control because it can foresee, right, any danger. And when you go to do something different, like changing your habits, your brain is going to start refusing this, and it's going to start resisting the change. And believe it or not, your brain and body will do some crazy ish, right, to get back to what it feels like is normal. And while we're talking about normal, I want to talk about this second thing called the upper limit problem. Now, I've heard about this with coaches that I've worked with. The last time I heard this mentioned was at Lamar Tyler's conference back in Atlanta. He had a speaker that used this to explain what happens in business with entrepreneurs. For instance, you could be making 5K every single month. This is now your norm, or what you would call your base, right? You grow, you elevate. Now you have expanded to making 10K every single month. In that period, something is going to happen, whether, you start slacking up, you get a little lazy, you're not being as consistent with your SOPs, what have you. And it's going to bring you back to that 5K month, which is your baseline. Now, luckily, right, there is a lower limit, which means that is a threshold that makes you uncomfortable, that you will not go below, right? It's like a standard that's set for yourself. For now, I'm going to call it 2K. When you start to hit that 2K month, you begin to do all the things, all the SOPs, all the grind, all the teamwork, right? To make sure that you are hitting that 5K and that you are always comfortable. This is a real life phenomenon. I have seen it when it comes down to weight. And it may look like, for instance, you are 260 pounds. You've been on your weight loss journey. You've been doing awesome. It's year 2, and now you have gotten to 190 pounds. Your body is going to send a red flag on the play. Your body does not feel safe. Your body is going to feel like it is in danger because the fat that has been stored is what it's going to use for survival mode, right? So your body could literally be living in that survival. And what will begin to happen is that self sabotage that I talked about before is going to come up again so that you can get closer and closer to that 260 mark where your body can feel comfortable and at home again. Has anyone ever experienced this before? Because these are the things that your personal trainers, your nutritionists do not talk about that happen psychologically. I know a lot of people that have reverted back to their old weight, maybe not have gotten completely to the 260, right? But maybe they went back up to the 230, 240, maybe kept 20 or 40, 20 to 30 pounds off for the long term. So eventually we have to do something about this, right? And the biggest player, this is the third one that I want to talk about, is what happens neurologically. Now, stick with me for a second because I'm talking about neuroscience, so there may be some jargon in there that may be a little bit higher level than what you're accustomed to, but I will break it down as much as I can. In our brains, we have neurons, and these neurons connect and fire together, right, to make networks or pathways. Now, these networks and pathways are created by our habits, our patterns, our thoughts. So you can have a thought that will fire that pathway, and you could be engaging in behaviors that you are not even consciously aware of or thinking about because that pathway can be so hardwired that your brain and body has now become programmed to that particular trigger. I want to give you an idea of what this could look like with a personal experience that I've had with my client. For the sake of this video, I will call her EM. She came to me struggling with snacking heavily at bedtime. This was one of her biggest struggles. She talked about how she would always be munching at night, and this was something that she had been doing for a very, very long time, which automatically meant for me that there is a pattern of behavior that's established, and now this is something that you just do without even thinking about it. You just call it your struggle, right? So after about 2 weeks of coaching and having her do a few assignments so I can understand her better and have an observer look of what could be coming up for her, I noticed that she was a busybody, right? She was one that had the to-do list, was checking everything off. She was making sure that she was always completing her work and assignments and tasks that were assigned to her by her higher ups, right? Her supervisors. And she was on it, right? And her brain consistently stayed in a state of overwhelm. So what was happening with her at night is she would go to lay down, and then that's when everything got really quiet, right? And things started to get really calm. Now, for most people, they would love that relaxation moment, but her brain and body had been wired to overwhelm and stress so that when she'd have these moments of boredom, that negative self-talk started coming up for her. What did she do wrong at work? What did she eat during the day that, validates that she should be stressing or more anxious, right? About her weight, about anything. She had these negative thoughts and emotions that were always coming up for her. And the issue became that she was using the snacking, right, to self soothe. When those emotions would come up and her body would begin to be anxious and the feelings got uncomfortable, those are the times that she had reached for a snack and was really munching at night. So, through her work with me, we found that her trigger could literally be boredom or negative self talk that resorted to her struggle of snacking, which was actually self soothing. And the thing about our food, you have to recognize that she was really soothing those feelings. Remember, 75% of us are eating a highly processed diet, which means when she's eating these artificial foods, she's getting a dopamine rush, right? That feel good feeling inside of her body. So it's actually calming those anxious feelings that she's been having. And so her brain subconsciously knows that I need to go and grab this fix so that I can be comfortable again, be safe, right? So, understanding that, this is where we employed some tools. And I want to give you two things that you could use just in case some of this is resonating with you, or you may not even know that you are emotional eating, because at the end of the day, that's what she was doing, and she wasn't aware of her relationship with food. You have to remember, she was doing this over a decade. This was hardwired in her brain. Her subconscious made sure that she was aligned to this type of behavior so that it can feel great and good, right? So through coaching and getting tools for her, we started one, the awareness of when these times happen. So, this happens at night at bedtime. You know that boredom could be a trigger. You know that self talk can be a trigger. Now, armed with these signs that she can look for, she has that awareness of self. Now, in this moment, she becomes empowered because now she can employ her willpower and her power of choice. Now, this could look differently depending on where she is in her journey, right? For instance, she still may have that strong sense to self soothe. And I mean, it's so strong that she might feel as if she's going into a spiritual warfare right behind eating this cookie or not. And I'm making it a joke, but I am so serious. This is really not funny, right? Because there are some women that are being controlled by food and they don't understand how deeply rooted this can be. And that they have to unwire these habits or rewire to new habits to expand and grow. So her objective could be to employ some of the tools that we learned and exact her will and be empowered to either make a healthier choice, right? Or to drink a glass of water and wait 15 minutes to see if that feeling surpasses. And if she's not used to sitting with that feeling and emotion, or it gets highly uncomfortable, right? I'm not just gonna tell her, baby, don't make yourself feel safe. Don't soothe yourself. Don't go crazy with emotions, right? We can continue to employ these tools until you build that new pathway, right? So that you can change forever, right? So please understand that this is a process. Change takes time. She didn't develop that coping mechanism overnight. This is something that she has been struggling with for decades. right? And now she is trying to seek a solution because she sees that her health is in jeopardy. Understand, we have to stop just going for the quick fixes, the summertime fine program, the quick detoxes, the group programs, even the personal trainers and nutritionists. They don't understand how to get their clients to a true transformation, which can only happen in the mind, right? So this is how we train our brains for success here at Blue Jays. And I'm not trying to talk negatively on any personal trainers and nutritionists, wellness practitioner. I am one. I am certified, all of those things. So I know that 90% of what the industry has taught did not equip us in this way. And if some of us are equipped, right, we don't have a full guided framework and step-by-step system to make sure that we can get our clients to this place of freedom and peace, which is very important. Because if your energy is not right while you are embarking in all of these quick fixes, right, you will always revert back to that version 1.0 of yourself, or you will go back to your old patterns. This is highly important. And this is also why we should watch the diet culture as well, because the more and more you train your brain to a failed approach, you're going to continue to seek that out, right? And hardwire those networks. So now you're just in a constant flux of beginning the new, failing the new, and looking for another new without creating a new network and pathway so that you can exact sustainable lifetime change. My goal is to really scale my framework and what I've put together and I've learned so that I can empower future generations to have a longer life and a higher quality of life so they can get out the system and unplug from the matrix and truly have their own legacy and create a community that understands that there is a misguided approach to fitness. And in order to really transform your health, right, you have to have the appropriate approach and you got to go through the long-term process. Otherwise, please let me know if you have any questions, drop some comments. And just a little FYI, yes, I do take my clients through the sports science and nutrition of body transformations as well. But I noticed while working in this way, the results were not sustainable. And many times, most women would regain the weight back, not be able to keep up with the regimens that I prescribe without me being in their face, looking at them and holding their hands. And that's not a change, right? That's just a crutch that kind of makes women need to always have something. And the industry is not going to put a pause and a hold to this because they're making $1 billion, right, off of your stuckness, procrastination, self-sabotage, and confusion. So here I am trying to employ a new way, right, of training that transcends the traditional gym routine so that you can have mental resilience, emotional balance with a therapeutic like coach in a very supportive environment. My name is Coach Riva. I love you and I care about your well being. Bye for now.